the first watch Molly Brown alongside Jim Rutledge. Jim, we're back.
Yes.
We were doing good for a minute. We did Free Willy. What else did we do? Father of the Bride. And then we took a little break, but we're back now.
It's vacation time. I was on vacation. You were busy, so yeah.
Exactly. It's summer. What do you want from us? But this week we did Pee Wee Herman, Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yes.
Honestly, I was, I put off watching this. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Until I was like at the gym and I was watching on my phone screen, hiding my phone screen from people because I'm like, I don't want people to think I'm like creepy watching Pee Wee Herman
but
at
you
the
watched
gym.
it after Paul Rubin's death, so like I feel like there probably was like a push. I feel like Pee Wee Herman, I would imagine the downloads probably went up.
When did he pass away?
Like right before we watched. Like, that's why we watched it. Is that we're talking about him, and then we started to watch Pee Wee's Big Adventure because he passed away maybe like 3 weeks ago, a month ago.
Okay.
And then I was like, hey, we should watch this because it's an underappreciated movie or maybe a forgotten movie.
Okay, yeah.
So like I would imagine that people would be like, oh,
Wow.
she's watching it because, Pee Wee just died.
Yeah, I guess so. I definitely had my phone like fully dimmed down, and like as I'm on the stair stepper, I'm like, let me just keep going higher up the stairs. So I'm not showing people my phone, but whatever.
Good for you watching something while working out. I need music or something like that to step or anything.
Okay.
Good for you.
Yeah, no. So I was surprised by how much I actually really enjoyed this movie.
Right.
Pleasantly surprised. I know that we kind of talked off the air, just like how your kids didn't want to watch this. They were like, no, this looks so stupid.
1,000% blame my wife for that. One, she's prejudiced against old movies.
Okay.
And she just, and we watched a preview for it, and she was just convinced it was going to look like it looked like in the preview. And like when you watch a preview on like YouTube it's like it looks like a whole VHS type preview that a trailer on there, and so the quality doesn't look good. But like I bought it off Apple TV for like $4.99. I was like, I can rent it for $3.99. I can buy it for $4.99. I'm just gonna buy it, and it looked. I mean, I think people forget that like when you buy these digital ones, like it looks crisp. It looks as close to a movie that came out today as possible. So like initially she was like, I'm not watching it because it's gonna be all grainy, and I'm like, we've done this like 10 times. It never looks like the preview when they digitally enhance it. They just don't digitally enhance the trailer on like YouTube most of the time for older movies. So then she was out on it. Then my oldest, who's kind of just whatever my wife says, is gonna whatever dad likes. My oldest is just gonna be against it at this point. And then was kind of out. And even my youngest was like, I don't know. But as I'm watching it, I talked them both into watching it because here was the thing: one of the kids from daycare, who's 1 year older than my oldest, is like, I love Pee Wee.
Oh
so
my
she had
gosh! So
watched
of course
it, so
she's
now
like,
they were more into it. But so we will watch it at the house because as I was watching it, I'm like, especially my youngest, I'm like, I could hear her cracking up at some of the stuff going on in it.
Absolutely. And I feel okay. My first thing, I have so many thoughts on this movie.
Yeah,
definitely liked it way more than Free Willy. Let me just start off by saying that I hated Free Willy, but I think one of the biggest things that I noticed was how many movies are like derived from just the basic ideas in this. And like I don't know if I have like a set list of movies that are, but like the first one that came to mind with like the first scene was Home Alone. Because just think of like all the like I don't know what you call those things where it's like
contraptions.
Yes.
Yeah,
and then like one thing sets off the next thing and then the next thing and the next thing, and that's exactly what Home Alone does.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just thought of that. Do you have any movies that you think like derived
and
ideas?
I want to throw a curveball at you. We had talked before the podcast had started about the next movie we watch. We always do throwbacks, but I've seen Barbie and you have not.
I have not.
You had an idea. Maybe you could go see it. Maybe now you can call it work. We should just do a first watch of Barbie. Because I've seen it. The reason why is I've seen a couple interviews with Greta Gerwig, who is the writer and director of this movie. Of Barbie.
Yep.
And she said that Pee Wee Herman was one of her inspirations in the idea that it is kind of a fantastical world. Like Pee Wee Herman takes place in the real world, but it has its own set of rules. Like it clearly is not I know you weren't alive in the 80s. I was only 4, I think, when this came out. Like that wasn't the 80s. So like a guy like that would not get such a pass as he does. Like you have to suspend reality to give people, in like Wizard of Oz is like that, The Matrix is like that. You go into these like fantastical worlds where you have to suspend reality a little bit to like fully. Like for Pee Wee, you had to be like, I'm jumping in. Like I'm gonna just jump in on this movie and be like all in on this is a ridiculous character. None of these things would actually happen, not even close. Like all of it is fantastical. But like then you think of like Borat, like that's a made up character. Any of these people that do these made up characters are definitely an homage or a reference or have inspiration from Pee Wee Herman. So I would say that any of those sorts of things, and Pee-wee wasn't the first. I think we talked about this before. Andy Kaufman would have been the first. I can't remember his character, but they made the movie Man on the Moon about it. But Andy Kaufman made up a character that he brought to, I think, the TV show Taxi, and he would do the stand-up on it. So the interesting part for Pee-wee is that Paul Reubens was a stand-up comedian and was really bad at remembering the punchline for jokes. So then he decided to come up with this character, Pee-wee Herman, and part of it was he'd lose the thread on the punchline of the joke. So you can see, if you go on, I went down like a TikTok thread, like you can find him doing stand-up with like David Letterman and all these other things. And the same thing, like it's something so whimsical and like fun-loving and goofy and great about it that you just kind of own it. Like I think Jim Carrey with Ace Ventura is very similar too. Ace Ventura would be like Pee-wee Herman, not a ripoff, but inspired by.
Absolutely,
like, again, it's just like this character that they carried for a while, and I think Ace Ventura would have been another one. I think you can think of different actors that had a kind of a goofy, fun character that they brought with them for a few movies that were just fun. Yeah, and I think Ace Ventura would be another one.
Okay, so I feel like during this movie, I was constantly asking myself, and like we have this little category of like the most annoying character, and I couldn't decide if I liked Pee-wee Herman or not. I couldn't decide if he was an adult or if he was a child. I couldn't it was like I couldn't decide if he was creepy or if I actually really enjoyed him. Like so, and I feel like that. I don't know. Like, where do you land on this? Because I'm kind of like, I like him, but he was kind of a douche. Like
Pee-wee?
Yeah.
I think he was like Penny. Is that her name?
No, Dottie. Yeah.
Yeah, the Dottie thing. I don't know if there was like a reference to like he just is asexual or if he's like doesn't like girls yet or whatever. Because he's supposed to be like a child. Like at the same time, he's like supposed to be like a child.
Yes.
So like, is he not interested because he's a boy? Is it because he's not interested in girl? Like we don't know, but it's definitely a running gag that he at first doesn't seem to even pick up on it or wants nothing to do with it. But he honestly acts like probably like a 7-year-old boy of like, I don't want to go on a date with a girl. Like that, but again, that's his character is. So like, I liked him more now as an adult because I honestly just see like he's honestly just like a kid. Like he's
trapped
like
in an adult
he's
body.
like suspended in reality at 8 years old. Of like, so like, of course he doesn't want to go on a date with Dottie because he's 8, and of course he thinks her advances are gross because he's 8. Like, of course he loves his bike because he's 8 years old. Like, to me, he's in this like suspended reality of an 8-year-old in a grown-up body. So like, that's the way I lean into it. Like, yes, he's a jerk, but 8-year-olds are jerks often, or 7-year-old are jerks. Like, they're sweet, but they're also jerks. They don't have any social understanding of how things should work.
Right. But then it's like you flash forward to the scene where he's like in the like car with the runaway convict.
Yeah.
And he's like smart enough to pretend like he's like an old lady with this older man.
Yeah,
so it's like
there's a little bit of inconsistency with that.
So confusing.
No, but he is like but it's a similar to like Ace Ventura. Like Ace at times like this guy's the worst, but he's also really funny. So I think it's just give and take on a lot of that stuff because I mean, what is it? The tricks with the bikes, or I know you are. What am I? Like all that kind of stuff. Like it's just so endearing, and it's a weird world. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Like,
but he's almost just. I mean, people have friends in their lives like this, but again, I get what you're saying. Like I would say, not his intelligence is back to your point of an 8-year-old, but his personality is like a 7 or 8-year-old boy. Like I know Yara, what am I? The dancing, all the things that he does in there. Is honestly like, but he's sweet. Remember at the end, he gives candy and like he's sweet to the woman whose husband is not appreciative of her or boyfriend or whatever. Like, so he's got a sweet side to him, but he's also just like socially a 7-year-old.
Yes. I feel like you just led me into like some of the best quotes. Yeah. So obviously I know you are, but what am I?
Yeah.
Do your kids say that, or have they ever been saying that?
Or I'm rubber, you're glue. Like they've done both of those things.
I'm rubber, you're glue.
Whatever you say bounces off of me and sticks to you.
I have never heard of this before. Never.
Okay. Well, so you looked off camera at Maddie here. So
we have our social media girl in here. Yeah. Yes, shout out to Maddie. But no, like
that just reminded me though. Side note of one of my favorite subtle parts when I rewatched it from Pee-wee Herman is when they do the movie, and they're at the movie theater and Pee-wee's in the movie.
Yes.
And the voiceover is hilarious, but he looks at the camera, and obviously it's on purpose. But like in the movie, he like looks at the camera and then looks back. It's such a subtle like. like breaking down the third wall of
Yeah.
like that is clearly something as a kid I didn't catch, but now I'm like that is absolutely hilarious. That like he's doing a movie, a feature film, and in the feature film you see him look off camera and then look back. It is such like a subversive joke for adults. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, that's true. Another one, but like, hold on. First of all, with I Know You Are, But What Am I?
Yeah.
Like, did he start this, or was this already a thing that he just used in the movie?
Hard to say. He started it for me. Like I know
Okay.
it from Pee Wee Herman.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love
So
that.
like I would say I would give credit to Pee Wee Herman on it as far as bringing it to my generation.
Mm-hmm. Another one that I loved was when he kept saying, "You don't want to get mixed up with a guy like me," and he would say it like you said, he's this guy that who knows like what he is, how he is, if he's a 7-year-old, if he's a 45-year-old, I don't know, but like when he says that and he's so innocent with it, but then he tries to say it with like, "You don't want to get messed up with a guy like me," and then I think even the convict says that too, right? The guy that's running away.
Yeah.
Like, I just think that's so funny, and that was his excuse to not get with Dottie. I just love that whenever he would say that.
Well, then the other one, That's My Name, Don't Wear It Out.
Yes.
That's another one too.
But like, these are the things that
would come from, again, I would give credit to Pee Wee on it because I would say that I would know it. So then, you know, your kids would know it from someone, whether your husband or someone else saying it or hearing someone or one of their friends' parents said it. And like, obviously it trickles down to them. Like they might not know it. They obviously don't know it directly from Pee Wee, but I would say I learned those things directly from Pee Wee Herman. And then it's in my vocabulary and then I'm saying it to people and then the kids hear it at some point.
Right.
So,
and like, I think this is one of the things about First Watch, why I enjoy doing it is because, like I've said before, I think there's so many references to various films and like different things like the little quotes, like what you're saying, that when I finally get to watch them, I'm like, whoa, like I didn't even know that this was why that's happening. Or, oh, now I understand why people reference Pee Wee Herman. Like, I'm trying to think of an example of when people do reference Pee Wee Herman, but like they definitely do. And I was always like, what is Pee Wee Herman?
But now like you hear those quotes, but then you watch the movie. Like you said, there's certain things you pick up on and it's like, okay, whether it's a direct reference or an homage or whatever, you can kind of hear what it's from. I'm spitballing here, and I don't know exactly when we release this. We should honestly just make the month of September, like, because if we do Barbie, maybe we do like an Ace Ventura. We should do these sort of like suspended reality characters.
Okay.
Because like I'm just thinking of other characters. We'll do Barbie next, but then we can think of other ones where it's like, all right, you're in a different. You have to suspend, and I think these movies are fun.
Yeah.
But you have to go into these movies, and again, this goes back to like
knowing.
my wife was like, I'm not in on it. She's not great at doing that. She liked Barbie, but like, you have to like just let yourself go to the movie.
Okay.
I think that Ace Ventura could be one too. Barbie's definitely one. Pee Wee Herman's definitely one. Because I think if you leave Pee Wee or Barbie or even Ace Ventura, and be like, I hate it. It's mainly because you
went in with like a different frame.
Yeah,
of,
this isn't like this is a fantastical movie. It's just a fantasy land. Like it doesn't have to always look like a fantasy land like it does in Barbie. It's still this idea of like this isn't real because Pee Wee obviously in a real world is probably locked up somewhere or like has an adult keeping an eye on him to make sure like he's doing okay.
I'm trying to think of other ones that would even. I feel like there's probably so many Jim Carrey movies. Like I feel like maybe
Mask.
Yeah, the boys love that movie. By the way, that's one of the ones where I'm like, I don't even want to watch this because it looks so stupid.
I didn't want to see it, but so I don't think I've seen Mask, and that came out probably when I was in my teens or 20s, but I don't think I saw it then.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna get to thinking on that because I do really like that. A whole month of.
Yeah, so we got one locked up. In Barbie, and then we can figure out the next one.
I love that. Okay, cool. Next one. What is your favorite scene in this movie?
I would say I don't know if it's my favorite. Large Marge sticks with me. Like Large Marge is again that is definitely something in the social construct. Large Marge is something people still reference. Large Marge, at least the name Large Marge, but like the ghost story, the whole thing. That is definitely something that sticks with me. I would say that.
I literally just looked up large, and the first thing to come up is Large Marge.
Yeah, Large Marge definitely sticks in there. The him saving the pets is pretty funny because he kept on looking at the snakes, being like "ew," and then like not wanting to save them, and then he finally does save them.
Yep.
I thought that was really good. I honestly though, and I know it's the beginning is just so perfect. Not the bike race part, but like when he wakes up and he is like he's got the whole setup. It just sets the movie up.
Yes.
Like if you think like it's such a tight movie. Like it's honestly not much longer than a TV show. I feel like it's like an hour and a half, maybe even less than that. And it is so like everything in it has a purpose and it keeps on moving. The tequila one, I probably was at one point my favorite. I've seen it so many times now. Like I still love it, but I think the way that thing starts from his fantasy dream of doing the bike race into him getting up, getting ready for the day, seeing the kid who I can't stand, the big heavyset kid or man. I don't even know what he's supposed to be. If he's supposed to be a man or a
I have no
kid.
idea. See, that was another part where I'm like, how old are these characters?
Right.
Like, what are we doing?
Right, but that guy drives like he's obviously the villain of it, and he's awful. So like that whole thing. And into Dottie, until his bike gets stolen. Like that, I feel like it was 3 minutes, but it told the whole story of the movie as far as who everyone is, but subtly too. Mm-hmm. Like it wasn't like these whole big of like, here, I'm Pee-wee and this is what I like. It was just, it all happened in the actions and it all just kind of happened organically as you're watching it.
Mm-hmm. I think, like you said, the tequila scene. Shout out to Coors Light. I saw like all the Coors Light signs. Are
you gonna do the dance? Like, should we do like a TikTok? I mean, we got Maddie in here. Maybe someone should do the Pee-wee Herman dance.
I think you might be the best candidate. You know, this is your generation. This is your idea.
I don't know if I have
it.
the white shoes. What did you think of the shoes? I don't know if I could dance in those shoes.
Okay, his fits. That was one of my things. I believe we called it "What's Old Is New."
Yeah.
We got that from Free Willy.
Yeah.
His fashion is on point. When you look at it, like, I'm not necessarily saying like it's like my favorite jam of like what a guy should wear.
Yeah.
But like his tuxedo or whatever suit thing, whatever you want to call it, with the bow tie, and then like the pants are a little bit cropped. Yeah. Like would you wear that outfit?
I wouldn't wear that. I would wear that fit, like the actual fit of it. Like I literally had pants on the other day that I'll never wear again because there was the style for a long time. They're like baggy at the bottom.
Okay.
Like, or basically they're not fitted at the bottom.
Yep.
And so now but everything he has is fitted and tight. And so I would wear. I don't think I'd wear that exact thing. Mm-hmm. I don't think I pull off bow tie. Like I'm old. Like I'm 43. Like I did like so up north.
Age is just a number, Jim.
I know, but like I feel like I'm too old to pull off the ironic look. Like so like up north, just to mess with the family, I shaved my beard down to a mustache. And
wow, it grew back that fast.
Yes,
Dang.
yes. And yeah, my daughter was even blown away because she's like, when I finally trimmed it back into a beard, she's like, how do you have a beard? Because it was last Tuesday I had clean. The last Tuesday night I clean shaved my face after the mustache. So a week ago Monday, I had a mustache, and then my wife's like, so we're on a break until you get rid of this mustache. So and we're on vacation together, so that was a little bit. She's like, but like this is not a thing. But anyways, like I could have like kind of leaned into like the Matt Hamilton, like
for sure,
like try to be hipster sort of thing. Like Matt's trying to get me to buy New Balance shoes. I'm like, I'm old enough where it's like it's not like a hip thing for me. I'm 43. Like I would just wear New Balances.
You would
not
just like
ironically.
a dad that should be grilling.
Right, exactly. So like I would wear them unironically, or even if I am trying to, I look like I'm wearing them unironically. Same with the mustache. Especially if I drive a truck, I'm just gonna give off a vibe of like this is like what I want to look like instead of like an actual
like this is
like,
my
I'm
personality.
in on the joke.
Yeah.
So I didn't roll with it. I think the same thing would be with this with the bow tie and that whole look. I couldn't pull that off. I'm also like Strofe could wear that. I'm too
Strofe.
But I just mean the idea of like he's super skinny. Like that look I think works for him because he's such a slight man.
Yes.
Like I would look like I'm bigger. I'm more muscular than Pee-wee Herman, which is not a big compliment, but like I think I would look like weird in it because like it would just be more clothing, and even if it's tight, I think it would just look kind of different. Like Pee-wee's he's very slender. Again, I feel like, didn't he get on the scale? It was like 97 pounds or something like that in the beginning. Like he was under 100 pounds. I don't know if that was real or not, but like he's a very slender person.
He is for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I guess Strofe. Could you see Matt wearing that? Because like Matt
would wear
slim.
it, but I think Matt would have the same problem. Like he's like too big for it. Like I could see him wearing it, but like I feel like to really pull that look off, you have to be like a slender person.
Kind of frail.
Yeah, and that's why I mentioned Strofe. He's
Sorry,
definitely
Strofe,
a frail.
if you are listening.
He's definitely a frail fella. Side note: I think of another movie that could fall into the whimsical thing: Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie, because Paul Rubens is in that too. But it's Luke from 90210, and then I forget the other woman. She's been in other stuff. It's not Sarah Michelle Gellar, but that could be one too we could consider for.
So is the show with Sarah Michelle Gellar based off that movie?
I think it's inspired by.
Okay.
I don't know the show. I've never seen the show. But
I haven't either. I just
so
remember
Buffy
it was
the
a big
Vampire
thing.
Slayer, and this is a cheerleader who becomes who is somehow part of a long lineage of vampire slayers.
Okay.
Yeah, and Paul Rubens plays Dracula's. That's a real character in literature. Dracula's right hand man, like whoever that is.
So what are some of his biggest roles? Like
probably Pee-wee, and then the other character in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
He was in Matilda.
Which Matilda? The new one or the original?
1996 version.
Okay, I've watched that too.
Okay, so there's a lot of Pee Wee Hermans.
Yep.
Like, I get it. We only watched his Big Adventure, but like, I guess what's like the basis of these films? Because I know we kind of did this with the family vacation movies, where there's a bunch of them, but like they're not related, but they're related. Like, how are these? What's like the sequence of these films? Like, how does that work?
I mean, it's Pee Wee and the other one only gets a 5 out of 10, and I think Pee Wee Herman got a 7 out of 10. So like Pee Wee's Big Top. There's this TV show too. I think is what you get. So he had a TV show.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's Pee Wee's Playhouse.
Pee Wee's Playhouse. I remember watching it as a kid.
Okay.
And that's like Pee Wee. Basically, it's like Mr. Rogers but with Pee Wee.
I haven't seen Mr. Rogers either, but I have.
What?
I'm sorry. Doesn't he wear like a red turtleneck?
Yeah, I grew up on Mr. Rogers.
That's about as far as I know.
I grew up on Mr. Rogers. I'm trying to think.
I grew up on Dora the Explorer, my friend.
What about Barney?
Barney, I grew up on.
Okay, so like same idea. Like it's a studio show that's geared to kids, where he references the kids, but like it's a little bit again, older kids or parents can watch it and get a kick out of it too. But it was that kind of show of like word of the day, and it'd be like, and anytime someone said the word of the day, you'd be like, ah, and I think people still do that once in a while, but like. You could do this thing of like the word of the day is password, and I could ask you later in the day like what's password, and the whole office would be like, ah, you said the word of the day. So like during the show, like he'll tell the kids like what's the word of the day,
okay,
and then they'll all know the word of the day like in the studio crowd, and then they'll have a guest in. Like Lawrence Fishburne was one of the main characters on that. He was played like a cowboy, I believe. Like, so like from Matrix and all that kind of stuff. Like it was a way for actors got their start. And like he'd come in and be his character, and then he'd say the word at one point, and then the whole audience, like he'd look at the audience, and all the kids would go, ah. So he did a kids show for a long time.
Okay.
Which is why what he got in trouble for kind of ended his career. But for a little bit as Pee Wee, it kind of had to end. But then the movies, Pee Wee Big Top, it's just a continuation of just a new adventure for him. Like, it's just like a different, kind of like vacation movie. It's just a different adventure for Pee Wee.
Oh, okay. So another one of my favorite scenes, phone booth scene.
Oh, yeah.
When he's like, is he in I can't remember where he is. Is he in Texas at that point? Okay, because he went to the Alamo.
Because the stars are bright.
Yes. Okay, so I love that. And that, again, I just feel so terrible for this Dottie character because, like,
she's in love with Pee Wee.
Can you wire me a bus pass or whatever he says? And it's like... And then she's like, yeah, of course. And it's like, he's just such a user that like, that's where like, I'm like, okay, so you're not a 7-year-old boy because you are a douche. Like,
or he's
you know
a
what I mean?
7-year-old boy basically viewing his like his mom.
That's true. I guess I didn't think about it like that. But yeah, like, so again, I'm kind of
I think he's a heart of gold who's just socially a child.
Okay.
Like, I think he has good intentions. He just doesn't realize that he's using people or not.
Yeah, that's true. And then another thing, I kind of just liked, I feel like this is kind of I don't know what you would call this, a theme that like various movies will use too, is just like the character traveling around the country, right?
Yeah.
So like when he's at the Alamo, I thought that whole thing was so funny too, and they're just going through the tour group, and I don't know, he just cracked me up in that because like he just stood out.
When he played like the convict's wife or whatever, like he leaned into that. That was pretty funny. Like he was good with that. I thought that was enjoyable. Yeah, I mean everything he did. Again, I'll go back to obviously the biker thing was fun. Well, I like when he's getting like when they got him pinned down. Like maybe we should do this. Maybe we should do this. He's like maybe we should let him go. like that part is it's so dumb. But even when he's on the phone, like I'm talking.
That is that is one of the best parts when he's like I'm on the phone. Like. I loved that. Yeah. That was so fun. And then everybody like shuts up as if that would actually happen.
Right. Or lets him do the dance.
Yes. And then
he gets on the motorcycle and just drives it right through the billboard.
Yeah. Oh my God. So funny. So funny. Music of the moment. I feel like the entire time that we've been talking about Pee Wee Herman, I've had like dun 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 dun. Like that's so good.
That is definitely that song sticks with you.
Yeah, it's definitely an iconic song. And then last thing. I know we like to talk about like recasting and everything, but do you ever think that there could be another Pee Wee Herman? Could that character still exist?
Yeah, just the idea like Borat came around. There'll probably be another character like that. Maybe I'm missing someone. The problem is, I feel like an old guy here, but like I feel like some of the best stuff is not happening in movies and TV shows anymore, and like some of these characters are TikTok characters or whatever. Like there's definitely people that have isn't there a woman who does interviews but she doesn't she'll ask really like messed up questions but doesn't blink.
Are you talking about Bobby?
I don't know.
Is she the girl that did the one in bed with Drake?
Yes.
Okay.
But that's a character. Because she was on like the Today Show, and they asked her.
She just did one with Mark Cuban too.
Yeah, and she did one on the Today Show, and they were grilling one of the couple of Today Show guests for like 30 seconds, and then she started laughing when it was done. Like, how do you not laugh when you do all this? Sure. Zach Galifianakis did it with Two Ferns. Between Two Ferns, where he interviews people. You've not seen this?
No, I've never seen this.
I'll have to show you Between Two Ferns, where he basically plays almost the character from Hangover, but as an interviewer, and he asked like really inappropriate questions. He asked Brie Larson, I think one of them was, this makes me laugh the most. She's like, "Your parents are divorced." She's like, "Yeah." She's like, "And how do you feel about being the cause of that?" Like, you know what I mean? Like, and they're like,
okay.
Like, he obviously just asked, like, he never breaks character. I mean, you can see the outtakes and he breaks character, but like, he asks like wildly inappropriate things and tries to like, so again, like another Pee-wee type thing. I think like a Zach Galifianakis, like to actually pull off Pee-wee, Galifianakis could pull off some sort of like Pee-wee's son sort of thing. It's Jim Carrey's too old.
Okay.
But like Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool is almost like again too old, but he's kind of like a Pee Wee Herman of the Marvel universe, where he's wisecracking and kind of like just a little bit out there. Mm-hmm. So I think there's some people that could do it. I'm trying to think of comedians who do characters. Like Kevin Hart's a big comedian. He couldn't do it. Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Mulvaney. Like none of these folks, Jim Gaffigan, like none of these folks could pull it off.
Right.
So from an actor aspect of it, like I guess why I don't want to sound like, okay, when was the last time you saw like a true slapstick, funny thing?
My gosh. I don't even know.
Because like I laugh at Barbie, but it's more of like, again, it's like why, like you almost have to rewatch it to catch up. It's a lot of like layered comedy in it. You know what? Ryan Gosling as Ken is, I would say, almost an homage to Pee-wee.
Okay.
Because like that is a character and he goes for it.
Yeah.
And obviously, I should be fair. Margot Robbie as Barbie also.
Margot Robbie? Is that what you just called her?
Robbie, sorry.
It's like who?
Margot Robbie as Barbie, like she goes for it and she's Barbie.
Okay.
And so same thing of like yes, that's IP. Like we know who those characters are, but they've never been brought to life in like a real, like, yes, there's the Barbie TV show, but like they bring them to life.
Okay.
So like I would say they did that. Now Barbie might be the next Pee-wee because there could be a sequel. I don't know if there will be, but there could be. Like Barbie or Ken or Alan or any of those characters from there could then carry forward into that world and like have that be a character.
Yeah. Well, okay. So you're hyping up Barbie so much, and I've been wanting to see it. I've been avoiding the internet to like see. And I'll give it like an 8 out of 10. Stuff. Okay.
I would say that like I enjoyed it. Maybe I'd give it more if I rewatched it, but like I got a kick out of it. My kids enjoyed it, and I would say like we didn't get a chance to like people really got to go all in on it, which seemed like a lot of fun. Of like and like people dressed as Ken or Barbie.
Did your girls wear pink to the movie?
I don't think we were on vacation, so they didn't really have pink. But like they were excited, like they were pumped. Yeah. Like they played with. We have a room. It's the Barbie room. Like we have a fourth bedroom. We do not have 4 people that need rooms, so it's literally full of 2 Barbie playhouses and Barbie toys and everything. And it's literally the only thing they play with. We bought like was a bigger girl, I forgot, not American Girl doll, but Target's version of that. Like we bought these other things, and like Rosie will play Lego. She'll build Legos, but she'll really play with Legos. They play Barbies all the time.
I was gonna say I used to have like a Barbie mansion.
Yes, that's
and I
what
used to have like a slug bug, a pink slug bug. I loved it.
And and honestly, it's just like I used to play G.I. Joes. They just honestly just act like they love to dress them.
Yeah.
And they just act out scenarios. But like, and I like to the idea of like the toy. I'm sure is not perfect, but like they make so many of them now. That like it's not.
Yes,
quite,
they're definitely a variety of.
Yeah, but like they're still young enough, especially Nola. Like they just like they honestly, it's like psychological, but like they just act out their day or like what they like. It's just I can't explain it, but like I did it as a boy with like G.I. Joes. Like I was always fighting with G.I. Joes. It'd be like planning out a mission or whatever. What like I can't remember. I remember I loved playing with them. It was just like acting out whatever like scenarios.
Absolutely. Well, you're hyping up that movie. I have been wanting to see it, so hopefully maybe I'll go for like $5 movie Tuesdays. There
you go.
So I have some logistical things to make that happen to be able to go, but I will try because I do really want to see it.
That has a 7.4 out of 10 on.
Okay.
And that you have to account for. There's definitely people that hurt feelings. Probably probably brought it down a little bit. So I would say adjusted score is 7.7. I would say, yeah.
Maybe I'll give you my rating. Maybe that can be one of our things.
Yeah.
We do a little rating on it.
Yeah.
And I'll see if I'm on an 8 or above you. But so we're gonna try that. If I can't make it work, then we will do another one of those fantastical movies. Is that what you called it? So definitely
Buffy.
down for that. But
man, Buffy, like that's how they say her name in it. Like a certain time, it's like when they tease her. So
oh my gosh,
love it.
Well, we will catch you next week. This has been First Watch with Molly Brown and Jim Rutledge.